What got me into dairy farming? I think that's the question a lot of people would want to ask. So prior to that, I got into greenhouse farming. So I had some big greenhouses, and the land which I was using had been farmed before. So we were having issues with organic matter in the soil and things like that. So buying manure from Narok became very expensive. So I got this brainwave, hey, how come, why not produce my own manure here on the farm for my greenhouse? So I found myself putting a few cows. So 2014 now started for me that journey of sharing the knowledge and this experience. Remember, I'm a full-time farmer. So I can do so many experiments on my cow. My mentor, Mrs. Gishinga, said it. Willie, ng'ombe zako ni kama zile panya za laboratory. You try. Stop. You need to stop somewhere. I told her, no. I mean, you need to learn what works, and you learn practically. Yes, expensive mistakes, maybe, but you know now what not to do.
So this is 2014.
Yes, this is 2014.
You have started another journey. You are more of a diversifying. You are now extending the knowledge you learned from your expensive mistakes.
Yes.
How was now 2015?
Okay, so 2014, 2015, I'm doing a lot more work outside. So you'd find I'm in Eldoret, I'm in Kericho, I'm in Nakuru, all sorts of places, Ukambani and those things. My cows, I've set for them a basic. So those were fine. But one challenge now started to crop up. What was the challenge? Subdivision of land.
That is in 2015?
Yes. It became the land which I was depending on for fodder started becoming iffy. Because in 2014, my aunt, the one whose land I was utilizing to grow fodder, passed away. So I couldn't make decisions about that land fully by myself. So I realized what will happen when it is taken away. What do I do? So two things happened. So there's that subdivision part, and then my herd was still growing. So I've started to understand how to take care of calves and grow my heifers. My heifers are growing. Standard mistake. I'm not getting rid of anything. One, I named my mother. My first heifer was named after my mother. It's not going anywhere, but nafukuza mama yangu kwa shamba. No?
Emotional decisions.
No. Some of my cows and heifers have been named by my sister, for example. I had a heifer called Ayanda. Ayanda is, my sisters were in South Africa, so they know that name from there. So I asked them, if I was to give you a calf to name, it's a heifer, what would you call? Oh, Ayanda. So that calf was directly tied to a close relative of mine. There's no way it's going as well. I mean, she kind of like had shares. We talk on the phone and she'd, oh, but how is Ayanda doing? It's like, it's my calf, but we are both attached to it. You get stuff like that. So the herd is growing. I'm keeping everything. The bulls, I'd get rid of them immediately. 1 week, finish colostrum, away. My very first bull I kept. In fact, my first calf came out was a bull. So I kept that one. Sadly, it died, but it also gave me an opportunity to learn a bit about calf care. But then again, it was a bull, so who really cared too much? We extended some of its mistakes into the first.
You really care? Who doesn't care?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Not too much. And remember, the greenhouse was still there. That's 2012. So it wasn't that big an issue. But in 2014, so this aunt of mine who passed away.
That is in 2015.
No, first 2014. So I just want to explain now where I live greenhouse farming. And fully now I'm a dairy farmer. So in 2014, my aunt who passes away, the day we have her cremation, same evening, Patrick, there was a storm here that has not been seen before. It came and blew down my greenhouse. 1/4 acre greenhouse. Big. Down, all of it. Whew. Down.
How was it?
I don't know. Have you ever seen dim? You sit, stand, walk, can't walk. You're thinking how much you've invested in it.
That up to be one of your lowest moment ever.
Yes, totally. And remember, this is the same day you've buried your close relative.
Double
cremated.
tragedy.
Yes, you've cremated your close relative that day. This aunt gave me her land to use. She literally said, "Enda ujisaidie nayo. I'll decide what I'll do with it later. But for now, since I don't have a jisaidie nayo, since you're there, I trust you to make good decisions about how you'll utilize the land. And if it helps you, well and good." She passes away, and we've just cremated her. Then my greenhouse collapses. Same day. If I've had low days, that probably ikona kikombe ya low days. The trophy for low days was that day. So I remember the next day I wake up and I just went out and I just looked at the greenhouse flat now. Some poles are still standing, total mess. Just the sheets are flapping everywhere in the wind. And so I said, you know what? There's a reason why this thing went down. You can't cry. So that's like 2 days later. So I get, guys, let's remove all these sheets and posts and what. So we put the sheets away. The posts, some of them, later on we are realizing the termites had eaten from very low. So the posts were actually weak. And I really should have done something about it earlier, but I didn't. So I said, you know what, that chapter is done. Forget about it. We'll just figure out what to do. Because I can't afford to build another greenhouse, at least even anywhere near that size. Forget about it. Let's move on to something else. So my journey for greenhouse farming ended there. That's in 2014.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, very unfortunate. In 2014, should have been around April, thereabouts, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, March, April, somewhere there. So, fungered that chapter, concentrated now on my cows. Then, so my aunt has passed away. Then I realized, hey, this land which you've been given to use, you can't make decisions about it anymore, at least not fully. So be very careful now. And my heart is growing somewhere there.
So you are not tempted anywhere to add more cows, since you have enough information or substantial information?
Yeah, in terms of purchasing new cows, no. Now, you know, through like Ananda had understood genetics and breeding. So I'd really gotten my way. I mean, I knew the Kagrik catalog, great grandsire backwards of some of the bulls there, especially on the paternal lines, because you'd get a lot of that information online. I mean, I sit, Patrick, and breed all my cows in January on paper. This cow is going to be bred to this bull. If it's not available, this bull. Each cow, 3 options.
Choices.
3 options. All of them from Kagrik. I stopped all these other guys. I just concentrated on Kagrik for reasons best known. First of all, Kagrik is just 3-4 kilometers from here. Literally, I used to buy cement there. So what happened is I'd know my cow comes on heat in the morning. So I know I want to serve it in the evening. Go to my record, see, oh, that cow is supposed to be served this bull or this bull or this bull. Call my inseminator, give me your nitrogen tank, take his tank on a piki to Kagrik. Is this bull available? Yes. Okay, put for me a straw. Come, put it there, maybe around midday. Inseminator guy comes at 5. There, a guy comes at 5, we serve. Very, very convenient.
So from 2014, you stopped. There is something our good friend Dr. Kari, yeah? We'll host him in this forum.
Yeah.
He says that at some point you have to stop breeding by chance.
Yes.
Whatever is available, you can inseminate, and you breed by choice.
Yes.
So you took the path of the choice. That is in 2014.
Yes.
So you are very sure about...
Yes, very informed choices. Very, very. In fact, 2015, that year I bred properly. You know, understood some of the bulls there very, very well. Like my favorite were from Tujenge farm. Fantastic bulls, eh? So 2015 was a very good breeding year for me. Very, very good breeding year for me. I had good stock in 2016, sadly, when I was shutting down. But in 2015, so what happens now? I'm not here all the time because I'm up and down, talking to farmers, helping them. Blah, 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 blah. There's not enough fodder because the herd is growing. So what started happening now, I'm going for fodder outside the farm. Now, around here, the same problem we're having on the farm of subdivision, same issue that's cropping up, because we'd have Napier plots here and there, former farmers who had planted. So they're like, niko na kadhara hapa kama unataka kununua. So I'd go and book that. Then shortly, ile kamali ya dhara, sasa kijana yangu anataka kujenga hapo nyumba ya kukodisha. That one goes.
I can only imagine how you are competing with how cows were competing with the renters, yes. Because of the university.
Exactly.
So there was that pressure. Everyone was quitting dairy farming.
Yes. So there was a lot of real estate coming up, if you can call it that. So a lot of those idle plots were disappearing. So what would end up happening now? We are starting to go further for fodder. Like I remember, Kagrik have a big field where they grow their hay. So what happened is when they harvest theirs and they bale it, the baler doesn't pick everything. So we'd get ladies from here and we go there and with sticks and we collect all that hay. So I had a really big store on top of the sleeping cubicle. Big, it could hold maybe like 900, 1,000 bales of hay. But because this is loose grass, so we just dump it inside there and chop it up later and stuff like that. Very amusing stuff. But here is where it got very worrying. So my fodder problem started. So growing hard, plots disappearing, Napier grass you can't get, and this and that, all those small issues. So I thought, let me go and get bulk fodder.
But by this bulk fodder, what do you necessarily mean? Is it hay? Is it maize? Is it Napier? Is it hydroponics?
Actually, what happened was this. Because I understood feeding, so I realized what I didn't have was fiber. I didn't have enough bulk fiber or dry, the amount of dry matter that was required. So we had then access to pineapple pulp. We had a bit of machicha you could get here and there and those kinds of things. So I knew I could use my concentrates and those other things to get the energy levels, but there was not enough fiber. And that would bring again its own set of issues. So again, then in my wisdom, I thought, up there, Salga, when you go up the hill, there's a place called...
Sachangon.
No, not on the highway, just inside Salga. When you go up the hills up there...
Rongai
is opposite. Now the other side. Up there, there's big farms, 40-acre farms.
Anyone from Nakuru, you can tell us the name of that area.
Boror, I think, or something like that. I think that's the name, if I'm not mistaken. So I'd go there, siaga mafefe huko, jaza magunia, get an FH from the highway, come put in my 900 bale, 1,000 bale store. There, napanga, it used to be very well set up inside there. Magunia, then we did all this soaking with molasses and molar plus. What
was inspiring you to do all that? So to make it more soft or to increase on the intake?
Digestibility. Just to break it down, break down the lignin a bit or pre-digest. So it's at that time that I realized, I discovered molar plus and microbes and those kinds of things and did a bit of work around that as well and got to understand what I could do. But then again, the problem with those mafefe was production was capped somewhere. You couldn't go past that. Remember, this is before maize silage became what it is now. I mean, just to get someone to sell to you a block of maize was this 2014. People were still
chief atakushika.
Unaonyesha
Mungu tumbo. Quote and quote.
Something like that. So the next best option was mafefe or a failed maize crop, which again has its own nutritional issues. So I just calculated everything and I realized, okay, fine. I can get this mafefe and do this soaking and this and that and that and that and microbes and this.
Wasn't it more tedious?
Yes, it was. But what option do you have? You have, by 2016, when I was closing, there are 14 cows and like 4 calves or something. Wacha zikule zishibe zinyamaze. Kwanza zishibe zinyamaze.
You know, like the more you are sounding like someone who looks for ingenious solutions to your problems. So you could have just fabricated a silencer and you make the cows instead of stuffing a lot of...
Sadly, for animals, it's like us. I mean, you're hungry. You're not fed. The problem was there was a lot of bulk rubbish. They were eating it, yes, making it more palatable, yes, but it was just rubbish. We were feeding them rubbish. So it came again with its own consequences. So production just plateaued somewhere. You couldn't pass that. But when I do my maths, I was breaking even and saying, kidogo. So I was surviving on that. I mean, we went with Mwalimu Njuguna to buy that mafefe.
A very good friend of mine.
Yes.
We'll host him actually. He has a very interesting...
Yeah, we've
over
done,
40 years now.
Yes, we've done that trip with him. He sent me with his son. And we've shared a lot of out of the box thinking with him. Or even the grass at Kagrik. So I mean, I'd pick and my store is full. So I'd call him, Mzee, iko nyasi bado hapa. Shamba, pale ile, and he's not too far from here. So he'd also come and he picks his own and be like, you're my guy. At least hapa iko nyasi. For us, it was like free grass. It's just people.
But very expensive.
Yes, at the end of the day.
We'll cover that on how expensive it was. There's something very interesting you have mentioned.
Yeah.
You have talked about machicha, the pineapple pulp.
Yeah.
You have talked about the concentrates and all this. I wish you cover that journey from 2011 all the way to 2016 when you are shutting down the whole thing.
Yeah.
How was that journey of the whole supplementation? And at what point did you bring in the pulp, the machicha?
Okay, so from the beginning it was just keep it simple. Napier grass was there. So nakula tu dhara. I did the usual, go to Nakuru, buy those chopper machines. In first one had an electric motor, blew up. I did all those things in short. So what happens over time? You start to aspire for more. In this case, it was more production, more milk. The milk wasn't so much so for money, more milk, more money. It was more for, kuna wakulima wanapata 40 liters, mbona misi pati. So you start pushing production. Tunalisha machicha Githunguri. Even me, I'll try. Iko kitu inaitwa pineapple pulp.
In this locality, how was it getting that machicha? Was it readily available?
Very difficult.
How far were you going?
From here to EABL. Remember, I didn't have a vehicle then. So I'd had to hire a pickup or borrow.
All the way to Roasters?
Yeah.
Crazy, man.
Yes. In fact, one of the big things now I ended up using a lot more was kamaziwa that comes out. There's machicha and then there's this
yes, the liquid yeast.
Wet yeast, yeah?
Yes.
So that's what I used to use a lot more. So my mafefe was soaked in the wet yeast together with the Mola Plus. Somehow I don't know, I never took that to the lab. I should have actually. It was interesting because I could produce an average of 19 liters from a second lactation cow on that. Quite genius, I think. Yeah, quite genius. But the machicha itself was difficult to get. Number two, the problem, you couldn't store it. So I'd even tried. In fact, the EABL one was even easier. Do you know I have brought a truckload of machicha from Keroche?
Oh, they're from Naivasha.
From Naivasha.
That's about 80 kilometers from here.
Yes. I have brought here. And we remember my greenhouse went down, so I had these big sheets of karatasi. So we tandika the big sheet of karatasi, then mwagad the machicha there to dry it.
Didn't it get molds?
Did I learn? Despite how much sun.
You mean LERN or RUN?
Well, learn. Let me tell you, we tried to dry that thing. We tried. We lost probably 15-20% of the load to mold.
That's crazy.
But I learned something there as well. So in my enthusiasm for these things, so I even ended up researching how to dry it, and I'd come up with dewatering. There's a dewatering machine. So I'd even start to research how much it costs in China in importing it. I'd thought to myself, you know what, I can take this dewatering machine to Naivasha, pick the machicha there, get a small plot there and dewater it there, then dry it there. 3-4 days should be done. Less mold, then put it in sacks, bring it here, mill it properly, because theirs is cracked. Theirs isn't milled. It's cracked barley and cracked, I don't know what else they were using.
Sorghum.
Yes, so it's just cracked. So you can literally see the whole seed. So from there, once it's dried, I can mill it, and then I can supplement my concentrate cost, bring it down.
I can see why you are full-time. As a full-time farmer, you had a lot of free time to think crazy things.
Yes, and you'd think so far outside the box, you'd be in another planet altogether in terms of thinking. So there are a lot of things which I've done.
And the pineapple pulp?
Pineapple?
You're going all the way to Del Monte?
Yes, yes. Oh, I'd go to Del Monte at 10 p.m.
In the evening?
Yes.
At night,
yes,
10 p.m.?
Yes. I'm offloading. I mean, I'd come with the pickup at 1 a.m. People are asleep, so you just leave it there dripping. Pineapple juice. So, tandika karatasi namna hii, drive the pickup on top of it, then pack it there. Asubuhi you offload. 6:30 in the morning we offload, so I can return the pickup, my friend.
I give up. I
didn't give up then. I was very, as I said, very resilient. And then again, being a full-time farmer, you don't have too many things to distract you. Hiyo kitu lazima utafanya paka itakuwa. And there are mistakes you're making, you're not learning, you're not seeing. And so I think that's part of why a lot of farmers now, when I speak to them, they find me very harsh. Because I can see them making the mistake I was making. They are not seeing the mistake. So I very strict on the guys. Don't do it because it doesn't work. Why? Because I have tried it and it doesn't work, and this why.
You have talked about the challenges of getting the pineapple pulp, the machicha. Also, you are going direct to the factory to buy dairy milk, or you could buy just locally.
Dairy milk, 2 sources. So I could either buy 3. So there was the Wangige guys, Koroga guys there in Wangige. Get a few bags. Today milk goes up. The next batch it goes down. Then there was the normal unga pembe types. Those, and then there was from Kikuyu Dairy. They would give you dairy meal and minerals, and then
on a check-off system.
Yeah, on a check-off system for the milk you deliver. So like minerals, I never made any. I experimented minerals. I did. But not to Koroga my own. So what I did, I was at the showground once during the ASK show. So I'm just roaming around there. And I passed by one of those go-downs on this other side near Jamhuri Estate. So I walk through there and I see packs for one of the, I don't name the company, but I see packs of that company in that go-down. So by good chance, there was someone at the door, at the big door. So I asked him, oh, by the way, you mean this go down is for these guys? He says, no. This is another company. So why do you have their packs? No, we pack this for them. Really? Yeah. These big machines. And then he showed me sacks of selenium and this and all those potassium and he said, explaining how they mix it and everything. So I realized, I could buy an unbranded sack of 50 kilos at very cheap. So I started using that. Also had its own set of issues later on, as I came to realize their formulation wasn't very good for helping maintain fertility, reproduction issues that came up from that. So I've done quite a number of those things, but there are those things which I stopped doing. I realize it's too much effort, and the benefit you're looking for is so little, like making your own dairy meal, your own minerals and things like that. Forgot about those. But the fodder bits, the nutrition bits, that there was.
I can see desmodium all over here.
Yeah.
I can see some caliandra somewhere there.
Yeah.
This also was part of.
Yeah. Protein supplementation. Yeah. You know, one of the.
So, like, if I was to classify your feeding,
yeah.
You are doing pineapple pulp, you are doing machicha, you are doing liquid yeast, you are doing maize,
yeah.
You are doing
Mafefe, don't say maize. Maize might sound important.
You are.
This is
maize failed crop.
Yes. And
not the dry one, but the failed crops.
The failed was even more difficult to get. This is dry.
So you are buying the dry.
Yes.
And you are collecting hay. So your cows are eating all manners of things.
Yes. And that's what my mentor was saying. These laboratory rats you have here, because I was doing everything on
So because of interest of time, you can say that you are doing AA. You are feeding your cows AA. Anything available.
Yes.
And that's where your troubles were.
And trying to make it work.
Now tell me, this 2016 when you are shutting down the whole thing,
yeah.
You have quoted a land subdivision, the hard is a land subdivision, the hard is growing, things are getting more tough. Now how easy was it to make that decision? And I remember you have your mom there.
Yes.
You have your sister's good friend there. Probably.
And a few ex-girlfriends as well.
And few ex-girlfriends. So I also have one cow, named a very close friend of mine.
Yes.
And it has proved very difficult to cull it.
Yes.
Despite of knowing I'm supposed to do that.
Yeah.
But anytime I try to cull it, it becomes chaotic.
Yes.
You mean unanitoa tu hivi?
Yes.
You get the point?
Yes.
So you have a lot of emotional attachment. And you want to quit. How easy was it? And at what point did you say, oh no, I don't want to continue with this thing?
What the trigger was labor. That was the trigger itself. I mean, there I gave up now. I had this guy, you remember when I was doing greenhouse farming, the guy who said, najua kukamua na kulisha. So he had done this together with me for 4.5, 5 years. Then, you just get too familiar and all sorts of foolish issues.
Kuzoyana.
Yeah, kuzoyana. So I just gave him an ultimatum and he chose to leave. So after he left, the first guy I got came, worked for 3 weeks. And this guy, you tell him, he goes to cut napier grass and then he goes to sleep there in the field. Totally dead asleep. So the time ya kukata majani, hata hajaleta majani. So that brought another set of issues. And he had come all the way from somewhere in Western Kenya. I paid for him bus fare and everything. Really big fella, by the way. Tall, strong, Luya guy. Turned out to be very unproductive. So he went after 3 weeks, got another guy. This guy came. He came from some farm which was shutting down in Gong. He came, slept that night and took off the next morning. Nice guy. He milked, left the milk there and he went through the fence. and disappeared. Me, I'm coming out to pick my milk in the morning. I'm finding, where are you? Cows are looking at me mowing, because normally we'd milk and feed. They are mowing, so I'm wondering, huh? So I go there, I start putting for them feed. The milk needs to be taken. It's there. So call the boda guy. Ebu come, I'm late. He picks me up, trying to balance a tank of milk. Total hell.
I suffered the same fate in November 2021. The guy came and left the
Totally. I mean, here you feel like a chicken that's been cut off the head. You don't know when to start, what to do. So try to go through that day. Luckily, someone from the neighborhood who I used to use as casual labor came in and they helped the two of them. And we did the cleaning and everything. And we tried looking for someone. So it took about 2 weeks. Real struggle. And remember, now I do a lot more of this traveling. So these day-to-day things, I was not doing them. Kenda kufagilia ng'ombe and those things. 2 weeks of hell. So I get this third guy. This third guy comes, doesn't know anything about cows, but he's willing to work. So he starts working the first week, 2 weeks. I had not realized he actually has a drinking problem. I didn't know that. So because I'm traveling a bit, I'm not really noticing certain things. So I go to the cow shed in the morning at about 8. There is no guy. The milk, so he's taken the milk up, but he's not back by 8, and he's supposed to be back by 6:45 at the latest 7. So cows are there making noise. They are hungry. Guy saunters in half an hour later, and he's at a distance from me, so he starts getting busy. I didn't smell the pombe. So the machine which we used to use to chop had an issue, so I had to get a certain part that was only being found in Mombasa, so it was being sent. So the guy said, tomorrow come for it, then you can fix your thing. There were corn bearings or something like that. So the next day, I'm going to town. I didn't go to the cow shed. Get ready. I'm going up to the shops. I meet with the guy at 9.
In the morning?
Yes, with the mtungi for milk. So now we meet this way, so he can't. Guy is reeking of pombe. So I'm thinking, this guy left at 6:30 to take the milk. Then he's been drinking till 9 a.m. I'm thinking the cows haven't been fed, not cleaned. Have the cows been given milk? I'm looking at him and I'm thinking, does this guy even realize that I'm struggling to look for money to pay his salary? So because I have to really get this part and fix the machine, and because now it was a struggle, chopping
with a
napier for 14 cows was real hell. Eh? So on my way to town, I asked myself, why am I doing this? So I'm in the matatu going to town. Why am I doing this? That worker, this hell, no majani, no this. And I just reached a dead end mentally. There was no ujanja anymore. How do you ujanja someone not to drink and work? Where are you going to? Remember these 3 workers in a row all let me down. I was like, why am I even keeping these cows? Really? Why? So I get to town. The kapat hasn't reached. The guy gives me a bench there to sit. So I continued the discussion in my head. But by 11:15 a.m., I had made a decision. I'm done. I am done. So first person I call is my mom. Because she had really encouraged me along the way. She'd ask, how are the cows? How's the family? She's very interested from a distance. She was telepathic farmer, so she'd farm through me. So I call and I tell her, I'm done. She's like, no, Mom, I'm done. This we are not discussing. I'm just being respectful to tell you my decision. The first person, I'm done. So I think she could tell from the tone of my voice, truly I'm done. Like, okay, fine. So between maybe 11:30, 11:45 a.m. and 2 in the afternoon, I'd made like 4 phone calls. That same day, in the evening, 2 people had come to view cows. When I told you I'd got that breeding business down, there are people who really wanted. So by the next day, I'd already sold 2 heifers. I sold 3 heifers. Then a good friend of mine, we were talking something, then I happened to mention to him, but then, I'm done, I want to sell my cows. He's like, no, I want. So he comes, by bad luck, I wasn't here. So he comes with his wife and they check. And they're like, yeah, we need to expand our farm and stuff like that. So we need to get cows. So these guys clear 9 of them. Then there was 2 cows which became now a fight. Patrick, also Ruto, had a farm. So it became, he really wanted one of them and a heifer, so it became push and pull. So those were 11 plus the 3, all of them done. So 14 finished. In 2 weeks I was done.
Wow.
Finished.
That's how you ended your dairy farming journey.
Yeah, and my drunk guy, so I told him, the day you'll just stay here, I'll pay you. The day the last cow lives here, and you follow it out. Then you can go drink. Now here's the sad part is, so like the first 4 heifers go, then he's like, he starts trying. He's never
becoming good.
Yeah, he's trying to be good, control the pombe and everything. Thinking a little too late for that. So the last cow went, and he went. And he went with one of my beds, so, and a mattress. That fella.
Wow. How is life after retiring from the dairy journey, the dairy farming journey?